Hello everyone, welcome once again to another Power BI tutorial by Team Slidescope. In this part, you will learn how to create this hospital management system staff availability dashboard. So this is hospital management system data from that particular software. If you select month, if you select different months and try to compare them, if you select different services, so you will be able to select that and then you can clear selection. We will provide a button as well later. And here you can see staff roles by service, in which service how many different staff members are there, staff count by service type that we have, that whether it's emergency ICU. So staff count is also the total staff count. This is role wise count. Then patient service request and how many of them were admitted by month. Here we have that data. Then we have created a patient refusal rate, that we have selected average staff morale by service type. So this is also given how what was the average morale of different staff members, and we have seen it by service type and average refusal rate. In the data that was given, we had only these tables like service weekly, staff, patient. These tables were there. What we have done is we have created these calculated tables using summarize function. Here also we have used summarize function. This table was also given, so later if we want to do staff wise analysis, how many days this staff was present, so you can see, so we can check that also. It is going to be a multi-part series, so we will get started with part 1, where we will learn all of this. We will learn this data modeling that we have done, how we have connected them using these dimension tables, everything that you see here. Then in second part we will focus more on patient request analysis, and in third part staff available, after staff availability we will focus more on their demographic data and so on. So this is what we will learn in this part. Let's get started. So the data set that we have downloaded from this Kaggle URL, I will share its description and this URL with you. There are 4 files: patients, service weekly, staff and staff schedule. When we will look at these files, this is patient file, where we have some information about patient, when were they arrived, when was their departure date, what kind of service they requested, their satisfaction score after receiving that service. Then we have a staff table. In this staff there are doctors, nurses, nursing assistants and so on. And then this is the staff schedule table, and then this is service weekly. Goal is to merge them together, so at least a staff and a staff service, and get this data. Here we also have something called refusal rate, like number of patients who requested services were 76, but only 32 of them were admitted because number of beds available were 32. So on the basis of that, refusal rate is created. And here you can see, with the help of pivot tables, we have doctors, nurse and nursing assistant. So this is merged analysis CSV table, and I will provide this table separately because this is created after adding the calculated column after doing pivot table using Python pandas. So I will share this with you as well. So let's get started and load these data sets and start analyzing the data. So we have opened Power BI and we will simply get data. Here we will connect CSV files one by one. So here you can see we have hospital patient treatment satisfaction data. We will load these tables. First we will load the patients.csv file. Check if there is column header mismatch, then you can transform data, otherwise we can load it simply. We have done it ton of times, so you can see that. Then service weekly, this is also fine. Then we also have, sorry, Then we also have a staff.csv. Here is a column mismatch. You can see column 1, column 2 is the header name. We will transform data. It opens Power Query Editor. So here header names are not appearing properly. We will click here and use first row as header. Once it is done, we can close and apply. Sorry, we had to close and apply. Close and apply will apply all the changes that we made in Power Query. Finally, we have another file where we have a staff schedule, and here everything is fine. So we will simply load this data. So all these data sets are now loaded, and before we start we have to do some data preparation. So for data preparation, if you see, we have a staff schedule table here. In this staff schedule table, we can see we have week, like how staff's schedule is started, their ID, their name, their role, whether they are nurse, we are doctors or nursing assistant, their service, and whether they are present or not. So week is given here, and if you see services requested weekly, so here week and month is given. So first thing that we will do is, in a staff schedule, we will try to create a month table first, a month column. So for that, we can see that a staff week is given as this from 1 to 52. So this week will belong to some month, obviously. So it can be first month or 12th month, like from January to December. So for that we are applying a simple logic here. We will right click and create a new column here. That column we will call as month, and here we are creating a variable called calculate month, where we are applying int function. We are selecting week minus 1 divided by 4 plus 1. This way we will create a logic, and then we have to clip it by 12. So if calculated month is greater than 12, so if it is greater than 12, then we'll return 12. Otherwise we will get return whatever the month is. So this is how we can actually apply a logic. For example, if 10 is given, so 10 minus 1 is obviously 9, then we divide it by 4. So whatever value comes, we will add 1 to it. First we will make it integer and add 1 to it. Let's do a simpler logic. 11. So 11 minus 1, 10. 10 divided by 4, 2.5. Integer 2 plus 1, 3. So 10th week will come in third month. It will suggest us. So return it and let's see. So once you will do that, you can see 10th month will come in third month. So this is a simple logic that I tested in Python Pandas code itself. This tutorial will be out soon as well. So this was complete exploratory analysis tutorial in Python Pandas. If you are interested, you can learn here as well. But let's stick to Power BI DAX. So this way you have the month now. So we have week and month in this table now. Now after our staff table is created, like our staff schedule table is created after having the same logic. Next logic is to aggregate staff by week and service. So we have to group by week, month, service and role, and then in aggregate we will count staff with the help of unique staff ID and n unique here. Like in Panda, this is n unique. So what we are doing, what output we are getting is, for week 1, month 1, what type of services were requested, what was the role, and what was the staff count at that particular period of time. So we have to do something similar in DAX now. So to do something like this in DAX, So earlier we created a new column, but this time we are going to create a new table. So for new table, we will go to modeling tab and create a new table. And in Power BI, when you have to group by something, there is a and create a new table, then we have summary function. So a staff by role will be, we have to use summarize. Okay. So summarize function will be used. In summarize function, you take first table, first argument is your table. So we will select that. Then your group by column 1 and name 1, group by column 2 and name 2, and so on. So we have to group by week, month, service and role, and then we have to give a staff count, and logic for that will be distinct count of staff schedule, staff ID. So that's how we will do. So how many distinct staffs do we have in week, month, service and role basis? Once you will do that, you will be able to see one table here, and this is staff by role. That for week 1, month 1, for emergency service there were 8 doctors. In week 2, emergency services, there were again 8 doctors. So this is how you will be able to see week wise. And if we simply sort descending, so you will be able to see for last week of the year that in surgery, about role nursing assistant, how many staffs were there. So this is something that you have created now. So this is very important for us to understand. So this is a staff by role. Now once we have done that, we will come back to our dashboard. We will rename it, and here we will write a staff availability analysis. So we'll write something like a staff availability, and we will simply insert our text box very quickly. This is hospital management system analysis. Like we had this data from hospital management system, and this dashboard is for staff availability dashboard. And here we will simply quickly align it to center. We will align that like this. Here let's use this font right now. We will change font colors and everything later. We'll use around 28 pixels, or let's go with 24 because we don't want to go in second row. So this is how we can add that. We can go to effects, enable some shadow here, and you can see padding from top and bottom is not proper. We'll go to properties padding, and I will add some padding from top so that it is in center. So now we have this heading. Now for our filters, I am going to create a simple shape here. So in insert, I will simply add a shape. This shape will help us in adding some filters. So this will be like a sidebar, and here again we'll go to style. This is something that I have, this type of layout has been used in many such projects. We'll keep saving our work. Then we can insert an image here, some image related to hospital if we have. So I have a assets folder where I have that. So I'm just adding my institute's logo here, but you can also add some hospital related stuff here. So we have this logo simple. Now we can actually add some cards here for KPIs as we mostly do. So here we are adding a card visual. So this this is a card visual where you can add one data field and see some aggregate value. So for example, we have patients. We have different patient IDs. So let's see how many patients do we have, or how, because we are doing for staff availability. So how many patients are there in total? So once you will add that, it will show you first patient ID, but you can count distinct. So we have 1000 patients. This is when you will go to format your visual setting. This is call out value. So I will use some value like 30 pixels and color same like this. And for category label, I'm going to use another color. Let's say we are going with this color, and we can make it bold. So this will become our card visual showing count of patient ID. For this visual also I will go effect and I will just enable shadow. Then we will copy it, paste. So you can click on visual, home tab, copy and paste, or press Ctrl C plus Ctrl V. So we have this. Now let's say how many staff do we have? How many staff members do we have? So we will add a staff ID here. Whenever you will add something like staff ID or patient ID, by default it, because it's a measure, it's a single value, it will select first staff ID, but we can always select count distinct. So this is count of patient ID, count of staff ID. So instead of count of patient ID, we can say patients, and here we can say staff count. So here, let's say when we are already writing patients, so let's go with patients count. So we have patients, 1000 patients, and total staffs are 110. Then we also have patient role. So there is another thing called slicer. This slicer can be used as an interactive filter on the report itself. So in this we are going to add this, but if we will click on it, this will not change our data because these two tables are not linked with each other. So in the data set that is given on Kaggle, they have not provided information about how patients are linked with, uh, you know, which doctor is actually looking at which patient. The only column we can use is type of service. So we have service here, and here you can see we have service like this. So in service we have role. So that's how we can probably relate them, which I will see later. But this is how you will be using your filters once you have made the connections. So right now I'm just focusing on KPIs because this is going to be a multi-part series. So we have to do a lot of stuff. You can see how much data uh, transformation is needed. So you can see here. So we have to create a pivot table as well. So now after this staff count we have. So on an average every patient has a satisfaction value, like how much satisfied was this patient. And you can see even in service weekly where we have available beds, events, etc., what type of service is needed. So we have staff morale and we have patient satisfaction also. So here we will add that patient satisfaction. Instead of sum, we will select average. So we will rename it as average of patient satisfaction score, which is 80.00. We will select copy and paste one more time. And here we will select what is average staff morale at that time. So instead, first let's select average, rename for this visual as average staff morale, which is 72.57. For different filters it is going to be different. So here again in service weekly also, if you will see here where we have week, month, service, etc., we don't have uh, you know information about what type of staff was looking at them. So again, service is common here. So if you see patient service, service weekly, service, then we have a staff by role. Here also we have service, and this is a calculated table, which is just copy of the staff table but with added month. So this is copy of staff schedule table where we just have added month and then we have grouped by so that we can get this type of data. Now after we have our staff by role table where we have a staff count, so we want to create a pivot table where we want to see how many doctors, nurses and nursing assistants do we have, and we want to do it as a pivot table. So we have role, month, service, doctor. So output will be like this. How many doctors do we have, nurses do we have, and this data is there. So for that, we will again go to modeling tab and again create a new table. This time, this will be called as a staff by role pivot, where we are summarizing the staff by role table, where again in summarize you see we have table name, then group by columns. So we are grouping by month and service. So like for the first month, how many for first month for a particular service like ICU, how many managers, chef, waiter, cleaner, this type of staff was there. But in our case, these are not the rules. So we have to replace them with. So first will be doctor, role will be doctor. Then let's get rid of them. We'll copy them when needed. Then second role is nurse. So we have nurse here. And then third role is nursing assistant. So third role is nursing assistant. We will copy the same spellings that we have. Nursing assistant. Yeah, that's fine. Now if everything is fine, if we run this, so without using uh, without using pivot table in Power Query Editor, you can do it here itself. And when you will go to table view, now you have the same data. That in month 1 for emergency service, how many doctors, nurses and nursing assistants do we have? So now we have a staff by role pivot table. So this is average staff morale now, and here we have, now let's say you want to do some other kind of calculation. So just for now, like how many doctors do we have? So how many doctors do we have? It can be calculated either with the help of calculate function, or you can also calculate, you can also do it without calculate function by applying filters. So this is basically staff ID. So we will simply copy this. Here we will just go to filter section. Staff count is all, and here you can simply add role and select doctor. So this will show us this is staff count 18 doctor. So if you want, you can show this kind of KPIs as well. So doctors count is 18 here. So these are our KPIs. Now we have created our main table staff by role pivot. So let's create some visuals now. So we will do service wise counting first. So if we select service and we select doctor, so you can see if we combine all the months together, this is service wise sum of doctor. So here we can summarize it, later we'll do. So this is service wise sum of doctors, and if we add month here also, like we do like this, so you will be able to see sum of month, which is not actually something that we want to see because sum of month is not valid, so we don't have to summarize this. So now we will get information like this, which is already available in table. So that's why we will add month as a filter here to actually see the data. As I said, there will be different dashboards. So this is for these visuals only. We will add month here, and month will be given as a slider now. In this slider or slicer setting, we can go to slider header and increase its size, which we cannot. So I will disable slider header, and in general I will enable a title and say month here, and this is something we can now customize. For text color, I will choose this text color, and here we have the month filter. If you want to use as a, so we can actually go to effect and we can disable the background. In that case, we can select different type of settings, like for header we can select a different font. Then we have these values. So in visual values, we can select this font color. So this will be okay. We can also select a border color. So in effects, we have a visual border where we can select this visual border. So this way we will have our month filter, and we will be able to see month wise from month 1 to 9 or something. Here, if you want to show as a slicer, you can do that, or you can also select something like drop down less than or equal. So you can select that. So let's select it as a drop down. So you can see these values. Now as a drop down, I think it will be better. And here you can now decide what your value or font color will be. We are not going to use table chart here. Obviously you can use a table chart, but we can select something like a clustered bar chart. So it will show sum of doctor by service. Actually it is count of doctors. So we will simply write count of doctors by service. In this same chart itself, like this is count of doctors. If we add nurses, so now you have another cluster, and if we add nursing assistant, so we will have data like this. Okay, so this data is actually giving us information of how many doctors, nurses and nursing assistants do we have per service. So that's why we can go with a clustered column chart also. This will be better, and we will use this much as width. So here you can see in emergency we mostly have nurses. So I will just select title like this, staff by service request, or staff by service, and here I will align it to center. I will choose the same font size, make it bold. Then I will rename this visual as count of doctors, count of nurses, and count of nursing assistants. So this way we will be able to see that data. Because it's a visual, we can also customize it. We can go to effects and enable some shadow here. This is staff by service. So this was not available. Once we have created a pivot table, then we are able to see this. Here we have just written staff roles by service. And if you actually want to see how many staff do we have per service, so for that we have this data, staff table. So from here we can select service name, and we can get rid of this, and we can simply add count of staff ID. So actually in ICU we have the highest number of staff members. So this is this data will be staff count by service type or something like that. We will write it like that. So this is another chart that we have. This is showing a staff count by service. For this type of data, we can also create a pie chart, which is showing us that 29% of staff is in ICU. So in this service weekly table that we have, I have done one simple thing here. I have added a calculated column. So right click new column, and this is called month name. So here we are using format function. In format we are selecting date. So we are just adding one date, dynamically selecting month number here and converting it to triple M, which will give value like Jan, Feb, etc. Like 3 characters of every month name. What I have done is I have used concatenate function also. So I am just concatenating month number with month name. I am just doing that. And as a result of that, we have we can create a line chart or area chart like this, where in x-axis we can add the month name. In y-axis we can check how many patient requests are there. We can also check how many patients were admitted in the same axis. So this will give you an idea how many patient requests are there and how many of them were admitted, which gives an indication that more patient requests were there than they were admitted. We will calculate this ratio also, but before that you can see these numbers are given like this: 9 seb and so on. So you can actually go to sort axis and sort on the basis of month name, ascending or descending. So you can select these values, and now you can see Jan Feb. So instead of doing that, what I did, simply I found another thing. Here we have only created month name column, format, date. You can take any random year here, month, one, and triple M. You can you, you must know from data which year it is. Otherwise, year will be given, and you can select this column, and then you can select sort by, and then you can select whatever value you need to sort by. And then once you will put this data, it will automatically show like this when you will sort axis by month name in descending or ascending order. So we are sorting it like this. So from January to December, you can see how service requests are being increased. So we can now change the title to service request and admitted by month. This will be our data. So now we have three charts now. There is one more thing. In service weekly table, we have month number, and in a staff role by pivot that we created, we also have a calculated month value. If we try to say that this month and this month value is same, so let's say if we want to create a month filter, so once you will do that, you will see some kind of warning that it has cardinality many to many. So in such cases, what we have done is we have created a month table. This month table, we are adding columns. So we are using calendar function. In calendar function, you put a start date and end date. Considering this data is from 2024, so we are setting a start date from 1/1/24 to 31/12/24. Like this is how we can set for date, because this is date format. It needs year, month, and day. Then we will create a month column, a month name column, a year column, and a year month column. So these columns will be there in this table. It will be like this. If you don't want other columns, you can at least get a month integer because that's what will be needed. If we again go to model view, then from service weekly, we link month with this month, and you can now see in month table it is representing. So let's see why. Okay, I get the problem. Problem is because we are selecting years, so this will not be sufficient. So I have to write it manually. So we are creating a data table month where we are selecting month name as, like, first we have to select name month, then its data type integer, then second will be month name and it will be string. This is just to add the month number and name if needed in visuals. Now we have this data. We again go to this uh, model view where now we can add month and month together. This time there won't be any problem. We will save it. Now this bridge table, kind of a bridge table is there. We will again add month from other table. So now this service weekly is related to month. Month table is related to staff role by pivot. Now what we can do, we can again go to view. Here suppose we have created a filter. So why don't we add month name here, right? So if we select August, you can see at least these values are getting filtered. But this is not, because here we have a staff schedule. So if we are doing monthly analysis of a staff schedule, so this is staff schedule, why can't we add this? So here we will arrange them like this, and in a staff schedule also we have month, so we will do it like that. So you will be able to do that. The same thing can be done for service also, because service here and service here are all same, and here also in patients. So once you have many to many relationship, that will not work in properly. So you have to create tables like this. We can simply call them lookup or dimensions table. If we go to any data, we have emergency, surgery, general medicine, and ICU. So whatever table you select, let's say we are selecting service weekly. So here you will find emergency, general medicine, ICU, and surgery. So let's again go to modeling tab and add a new table, and we'll call it service table. Suppose you want to list by service. So now why are we doing this? Because here the service name will appear only once, and that's why one to many relationship will be created. So for example, with patient, there is service. Let's link them. So in patient there are many, in service table it is one. So many to one relationship. So we will add a staff here. Our important table is a staff role. So we'll check that as well. Now in a staff weekly also we have event and service. So let's link these service names. So cardinality is one to many because that's how it is selected, and this is also done. Suppose, and our other important table is staff by role pivot. So we'll do this, and same, check type of connections you are making and say OK. Now you can see the complete data model is created with these dimension tables, and here we have this data. So now you can see all the charts are getting affected. Most of the values are also getting affected. here you can see staff count is not getting affected because in staff count we are using a staff table. But if we use, for example, a staff schedule table, because here also we have a staff ID. So if we use a staff ID from this, instead of first we use count distinct, so then you can see. So let me check other thing. So obviously still there are some issues. We will figure them out. Obviously, as I said, this will be a multi-part series. Here in a staff table also we have service. We don't have any month data here. So we will at least list service. One more thing that is there is that is role. So this is service, emergency, general medicine and ICU. But here you can see we have a staff by role. Here we have role. In a staff table we have role. In pivot table we have role. So you can see we can create another dimension table for role as well, so that all of them are linked properly. This is not linked. So at least if you want, you can, obviously it has month, so we can link with month. It has service, so we can link with service. At least this much we can do. And role is remaining in some tables. So if you have to do that, what you can do is you can create another table, that is role table. So for example, if we copy this, go to modeling tab again, create a new table, and here we will call it role table. In role table we will say this is role name, one is doctor, one is nurse, and one of them is nursing assistant, I guess. I will check the spellings, but this is how we will do this. So obviously we have done staff roles by service. So here you can see it is showing nursing assistants. So if we go to role table, this will be nursing assistants. Other spellings are changed. So, or I think it is nursing assistant. Let me check. Sorry for that. So we will save it here. So let's go to any table view and where it will be verified. Here we have role nursing assistant. It's okay. Now we have that also, so we can link them together as well. So this role belongs to this table and this role belongs to this table. And wherever our role is there, we can link them. So somehow this complicated, but we can make it easier later because we are also exploring the data set. And I have not done too much preparation. I am doing straight in front of you so that you can understand the process as well. Like there are some hidden trials. So here we have at least some values are getting trimmed as per the filter. Now this is service request and admitted by month. Let's say we also have patients here. So patient name and their satisfaction is which we have already given here. But this patient satisfaction is also given here in service weekly. So we can try to replace it here. It will come as the same value, but at least we have from the table that is in model linked with other tables. So this is another example. Now in our service weekly table, we also have information. So for example, service request, so we are staff availability, we are selecting that. So for that, Here we have in this table, service weekly table, patients refused and requested data. So we can find out refusal rate. How many patients were refused of these services because of unavailability of beds. So here again we can create a new column and we can call it refusal rate, and for that we can use divide function where we can select first of all refused value. So how many patients were refused? Then we can select total request. So we can select request, and to avoid divided by zero error, suppose in case some filter is applied. So this is a divide function which is a function for division but ability to handle divide by zero case, which is not there directly in the divide operator. Now this refusal rate is given, and let's say what is patient refusal rate by month we can select. So we can create another visual here and we can increase its font or increase its visual size, increase its height and all, and we can now select this. Month name is already given, we will just select refusal rate. We can select another type of chart, for example this. So this will give us service request and admitted by month. Obviously we have to change this. So this will be patient refusal rate by month. Here we can add other filters, like we can check on the basis of services. So here we have selected this, and in general setting we will write service as a filter. So if we select general service or emergency or ICU, we'll be able to see that data. As I said, these filters are not working on all of them because data model is a bit complicated, to be honest, right now. I will try to simplify it and then create another video. But till then, you can focus on these visuals, exploratory data analysis aspect of it. Now here we are seeing refusal rate. We can also see patient admitted data, patient request data, or patient refused data. So let's say we want to see that number also. So we can create a line and a stack column chart, and here we can select patient refused line y axis. So you will be able to see this extra line as well. So here you will be able to see patient refusal rate by month along with number of patient admitted or number of patients refused in this line chart. And reason will be that the service name is coming from a different table and they are not linked. So we have to actually link it from here. So let's select. Now it is so in emergency it is 73.56. Staff morale is highest in case of emergency service, lowest in ICU. As we have week name also, so we can also add week as a categorical data here. Select title, select week here. So this is also there. We can create another copy of it, and we can also add event. So this is important because event is another field which is very important for us, because these events are donation, flu, none, or strike. In those cases, what is staff availability? So we can also select that data like staff morale in case of different event or patient refusal rate in case of different events. So I will simply copy this so that we don't have to create a styling again and again. And I will simply select a God chart here. Here I will select event and we will select patient refusal rate. which is a field for us. Instead of sum of refusal rate, we'll select average. So this is average refusal rate. Okay, here also we have to select average. That's good. So this is average refusal rate by event. So in case of a strike, obviously refusal rate is lower, but in case of flu, it is highest. And here will be average refusal rate by event or per event that we can see here. So in this case of data, we have this information. Here we can add more tooltips if needed. So these are some basic type of charts that we have, and on the basis of these charts you can actually see or you can analyze this data. I will add week here also as a filter. So this is week. Here a more detailed exploratory analysis session is also created. I will provide this link also if you are interested in learning Python. Otherwise, you can watch it just for reference purpose. So you can see we have done these things here also. For example, patient request by event 10 month. Here we have done patient refusal rate by month. Let's say we have to do that. So this is again on the basis of staff availability we have done that. If we have to create more charts here, so either we can add it here or we can duplicate it and we can rename it patient request analysis. And here let's say staff availability patient request. We can keep the KPIs, but this is staff role by service. What if I just close everything and here we select service from here and patient requests. How many patient requests do we have by service? So in emergency we have highest number of patient requests, so we can enable this data level. So we can create another you know chart here which will be part 2 of this series. So I'm just changing these charts. We will add more charts here. So this will be our part 2 and this is staff availability. Now you can explore it from your end. You can add more data to it. So if you have any questions or suggestions, you can contact us at slidescope.com. If you want to learn data analysis, then also. And please subscribe to this channel because we are uploading this type of videos more frequently now. Thanks once again. Have a nice day. And before we finish, what I have done is after selecting the visuals, we went to view and I have applied this theme accessible neutral. So it will automatically change all colors. The only thing you need to change manually is select the text and then select and change the font color accordingly. You can either select this dark brown color, this color, or whatever you feel is more suited as per your requirement. So this is something that I have done and it will be reflected in both the charts. Here also we have to do the same thing. So we have to select the same color here as well.